Hello everybody, Brian Hanson here with the Bible Animated, and going to be doing a kind of quickish, I hope, tutorial here. I have been working on a scene here. Let me just run to that so you guys can see what it is. This is out of the upcoming Creation with Computer Animation and I've been working on this scene for a while. What I was really stuck on was the sun and getting this glow effect around it and then dropping that on the background. I can rather easily show you actually just what I was up against. Okay, so I have my original image, which is this, and then after running it through the node group to blur it and everything, it looked like this. The sun file actually was downloaded from BlendSwap. I'll put a link to that in the description. So I had that, and I was trying to put that on top of the background. And I can show you real quickly. This is what was happening when I did that. I lost all of that blurring around the sun because of alpha issues. The fix was actually rather simple. And that's what I'll be showing you in the tutorial. So I'm just going to open the original file from off of BlendSwap. Right here, sun. And do a quick render on that, just so we have something for the compositor to use, and so we can see what's going on. Okay, and there we go. We got a little bit of glare coming off the sun, got glow around it. If we look at the alpha channel hasn't actually been modified. That is our original unmodified alpha for the image, even though it's composited with this. So what we need to do, just escape out of that, jump over to the compositing. Let me clean up the screen here. Oops. Don't need all this stuff showing. Let me put that to a new window as well. And then just full screen. So we got all the real estate space we can get. Basically, we have blur add, blur add, blur add, RGB curve, color balance, brightness contrast, and then a glare node. That's all just to take the image, what we saw at that original render, to take it from this. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. And make it look like this. So what I'm going to do, just for simplicity, and clean my screen up a little bit, just hit B on the keyboard, and just highlight all those, and then Control G will turn them into a group. So now I just have this nice little node group right there. I can pull all this stuff together, zoom in a bit so you guys can see a little more easily what's going on here. I just have my composite node up on top and my viewer node underneath. Okay, so we now have our node group here, which is really big. And I can reposition that so it's a little more centered. Okay, and what we need to do is get our alpha here to look more like this with the blurring. So what we're actually just going to do, I'm just going to take the node group and I'm just going to duplicate it. And I'm actually just going to run the alphas right through the node group, and then we'll take a look at that in the viewer. Give it a second here to composite. And whoa, okay, there's something wrong going on here. You can reposition the background picture using holding down Alt and the middle mouse button, Alt V to zoom in and V to zoom out. And we notice, yeah, it's not looking so good right now. So let's open this node group up and take a look at it, see what we can take out. Okay, we don't need the curve, color balance, brightness contrast, or the glare. Those all can come out. But before you do that, if we look up here in the corner, the node group, there's two users to this node group. Because, whoops, just lost everything. These are both duplicates of each other. They're mirrored copies. If I edit this one, the other one will change as well. So what we want to do is make sure we click the 2 to make this a single user. I'm just going to call it alpha. And then we can go through and delete out these other nodes that we don't need. Pull our piece there back in, and ta-da! The alpha is now corrected. Now pretty much if I throw that image in, throw in the alpha, view the alpha, we can kind of see. Zoom in here. We can kind of see some of the blur going there. It's a little difficult to see just because of the background here being a lighter color. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take a few more steps and drop in a background and put this on top of the background and see what we all get. So, just gonna add an image. See, bark. Sure, tree bark. I guess that'll work. I don't know. Let's see how big this ends up being. Whoa, it's really huge, but that works. Looks a little weird to have a sun sitting on top of it, but hey, you know what? Not gonna worry about that. Okay, so let's add an alpha over, because it's normally how one goes about. It's not a color. Normally, how one puts one image on top of another. Before I do that, though, we do need to take our edited image here, this guy right here with the blur on there, and we actually need to assign the new alpha channel we made by running it through the blur nodes. We need to set that as the alpha to the original. So to do that, we just use color, I think extender. Nope, converter, so extender. And set alpha. And image goes to the image, and this image goes to the alpha. Then we pull that image over here, and if we view the alpha, it's all there. So we can now use the alpha over node. Just drop those in place, pull that to the viewer, and give it a minute to compute. And okay, we can kind of see it's got that blur going. No, I'm actually going to change this image, because that's really not working. See, where am I looking to go here? Textures, stars. Okay, this is that original image that I had in the other file. You can tell here. Zoom in a bit. You got the blur going on the black background there, and you can kind of see it a little bit on this. I mean, you'll really see a difference if I pull this to use the original image. You'll see a massive difference, and you'll go, wow, yeah, you really don't notice that added alpha there, but it really does make a big change. It's subtle, but it's there, and it looks bad without it. So that is basically that step. Now we can actually take this farther, and because the alpha is really just a grayscaled image, I can do anything to my alpha channel that I can do to any other channel or anything. So let's see what I'm talking about in just a second here. I'm actually going to open another file, and that file is gonna, why does it keep defaulting to this place? I don't want there. This is going to be a image that actually has alpha in it. If we view the alpha on this one, half of the image is no alpha, the other half's 1. So what we can do is we can take this image, use the alpha over node, drop that in, drop in the alpha on this, pull over our set alpha, drop that in there, put that to the viewer, and wow, I just cut off half of the image's alpha. If we actually take a look at the alpha here, we'll see, again, white is what we can see, black is completely transparent. I made half of it transparent, and then we still have the sun here. Equally, you can, where's the invert node here? What's that under? Distort? No, color? There's an invert, here we go, invert. I can invert my colors, making this a white image on the side, and the alpha over there, and this would recompute. Oh, you're supposed to do until what you convert. Now if I take my final, that's weird. I just lost my little button on there. There we go. We drop these back in here. Now we completely made this side viewing the original, which is the back background. We view the alpha. Oh, actually, we are viewing alpha right now. So we have the solid background from this, and then the solid background here that we're adding in, and then we have the blur from the sun going on top of it, and this side is all original image. So that can be handy for certain instances, like the file I showed you guys originally. That was actually something I was using to had that bar run in the center, and some of this blur was going over to the side. It was subtle, but it was there. You kind of noticed it a little teeny bit, and I didn't want it there, so I just pulled it out using the alpha over onto an alpha channel. I know it sounds a little confusing to use an alpha over when you're working with an image as alpha, but it works, and it works very well, and it does do what it should do, and it's very handy. Because otherwise, like I was saying, you know, if you don't do this, you have none of the alpha, and it just looks awful. So that's that. I think should be everything I wanted to cover in the tutorial here. Let's see the blur. Yeah, one thing to keep in mind though is the alpha channel. Let me pull it over here. It is a black and white image. Actually, grayscale. We do have shades of gray in there. I'm not sure what happens if you introduce color into it. I suppose one way to check would just be throw this image as our alpha, and then view the image. Wow, that actually looks very interesting. Kind of cool. Very interesting. So yeah, it converts your color images to black and white. So if you let colors creep in, it's gonna do funky stuff. So try to keep the colors out of your alpha, because yeah, you can't be sure what exactly is gonna happen if that happens. And chances are it's not really anything you want happening. And like I said, yeah, it's gonna look a little funky. And probably not what you want. So just try to keep your black and whites black and white. There is actually there is an option in here to someplace. I thought that was under converter, RGB to black and white. So what you could do is you could actually convert that to a black and white image. I don't know why it's throwing this in there. And then this will now become your alpha channel, which is I guess what it does if you put color into it. So if you do have a color image for some odd reason, or maybe some color sneaks in and you just want to pull it out so it looks better, I don't know what the big advantage is. Blender will convert it itself, so it doesn't look like you really need to use this step. But for, I don't know, something, if you needed it to be black and white on the alpha channel, and you need to be able to see the black and white alpha, you can just run it through a RGB to black and white node. And that'll take a color image and put it out as actually a value, but it's just a black and white image. Like you could use that in the FAC value here on the alpha over, which was giving some interesting effects. Yeah, it's got my right image background setup. Yeah, very interesting effect. Not what I'm looking for, but yeah, you could use it. I don't know. Obviously, there's sometimes when you would want to use that for something. Otherwise, they wouldn't have put in the ability to do it in Blender. So there you have it. That's the completed tutorial. Let's just run this as a render here to get a nice frame at the end. Yeah, hopefully this helped you out some. Oh, I didn't have compositing set up. Let's pull this one up a little bigger here. But yeah, hopefully this helped you out somewhat. Like I say, I know it wasn't making me crazy, but it was quite annoying, and I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. And then the idea just came upon me one day. I don't remember why. And I was like, you know, the alpha channel is just a black and white image. I should be able to edit that and give myself partial transparency in the areas of the blurs. And I went and experimented. It took about half an hour of experimenting and stuff, and I was like, this works. I gotta let you guys know, because maybe you're struggling with the same type of an issue, and this could help you out. So, yeah. God bless, and thanks for watching.